Okay, my name is Peter, and I'm voting Liberal. I'm voting Liberal because Mr. Scheer seems to think it would be normal that someone knocked on my door, said, "Hi, we're seizing your house because of something that happened 15 years ago," when I didn't even own the house. Now, first of all, the Conservatives. Conservatives are Her Majesty's loyal opposition. Ladies and gentlemen, opposition. What do they do in life? They oppose. The government says white, they'll say black. The government says black, they'll say white. Government says, okay, black and white. What do they say? Gray. But not that gray, the other gray. You can't believe anything the opposition says. If they had good ideas, they keep them to themselves. Because if they put forward those ideas and the party in power adopted them, then the party in power would get the credit, and they wouldn't. So any good ideas they have, they keep to themselves until someday they're elected. You can see I'm an old guy, I'm retired. The only thing that matters to me is health care, cost of living, my pension. None of that is really important in this election. This means that I shouldn't be interested. Normally, I'm not an interested person as far as politics are concerned. I don't belong to any political party. I don't contribute to any political party. None of my friends or family work for political parties. I guess I'm like most Canadians. I vote in every federal election as long as it's not raining too hard. I'm not a political guy. My opening theme. Someone knocked on your door, said, "Hi, we're seizing your house." Why is that? Well, because 15 years ago it was used for selling drugs. But I didn't own it then. I own it since 5 years. When was this? It was 15 years ago. So how can you be taking my house that I've owned for 5 years for something that happened 15 years ago? Well, that's just the way it is. We think that's normal. That's what the Conservatives are saying. That's what's happening with this SNC-Lavalin thing. About 10, 12, 15 years ago, while the Conservatives were in government, Lavalin worked on a contract somewhere in Africa. It's one of those countries where in order to play, you pay. It's like a cover charge at a bar. We don't care whether you drink, listen to the music or not. You want to get in through the door, pay us. Same thing with these African countries. Lavalin won the contract. They paid, supposedly, a bunch of money to whoever was dictator at that time. One thing I do know, every single company that bid would have paid that. Lavalin won, which means to me as a proud Canadian that they did the best job that any other company could have done. So that country paid money to Lavalin, too much because some of it was funneled back to their dictator, but at least they got a good job done. And now, 15 years later, we want to bring them to court. Nobody who had anything to do with this business still works there. They all retired. They were pensioned off. They left, whatever. So we're going to take a company to court for something the company did 10, 15 years ago when none of those principals still work there. To me, a company is a name on a building. You can't hold a company in your hands. So, what are they doing? They're punishing the company, which is owned by shareholders. They're going to, if the company is judged guilty, prevent them from bidding on federal contracts for something like 10 years. So it means that Canada loses the expertise of Lavalin for the next 10 years if they were judged guilty for something that somebody else did. Because today's president, today's vice president, today's general marketing, etc., 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 had nothing to do with it. Now, the Attorney General decided criminal investigation. And even though everyone tried to talk with her, to tell her that it was not a reasonable thing to do, she decided it was. And she decided it was unethical to continue to ask her to change her mind. I've known a lot of people in my life, and I know that there's a lot of people, once they make up their mind, won't change it even if the information you give them is different. They consider it to be a sign of weakness if they change their mind. Now, that minister, I think she did a great job, especially considering her background. The government offered her the portfolio of Minister of Indian Affairs, which, by the way, that name has to be changed pretty soon, guys. Indian Affairs. Give me a break. She was offered the portfolio of Indian Affairs. I saw her father on TV. What did he say? I don't want my daughter to be the Minister of Welfare. So she grew up in an environment that was anti-government, still did a fantastic job, unfortunately decided to do what I consider is not reasonable. Mr. Harper was a strange guy. This leader of the Conservative Party learned his politics from the United States. A big lie, everyone will believe it. Innuendos, insinuations. What did I just hear? If the Liberals are elected and join the NDP, they're going to raise the GST. Show me proof of that. No. We know it's going to happen, but we can't show you any proof. You know what? That's not the type of politics I want in Canada. I'm ashamed of you. What else? Oh, Trudeau didn't make good on his promises to do this and that. Oh, Trudeau says, 75% of our objectives. That's not true, that's a lie. Oh, it's true, it was like 74.5%. The things that Trudeau government have done for me as an old guy don't affect me very much, but pensions haven't gone down. My health care seems to be reasonable. I don't see why I wouldn't put Mr. Trudeau back in government, back in charge for another 4 years. He's only been there since 2015. Not much time to get rid of the Conservative debt and rectify all the mistakes that the Conservatives did. I think he's done a fantastic job. Some things can be improved. Bravo. Mr. Scheer, let's make a bet. You say the Liberals are going to raise the GST. I say they won't. Let's make a bet. If the Liberals raise the GST, I'll help you remove Trudeau from office during the next election. If the Liberals don't raise the GST, then you're proved to be a liar. And how about you agree to leave as the leader of the Conservative government? Stand by your words, stand by your decisions. I'll see you in 4 years.